Hey everybody, Ruin the Gaming Dad from the Ark Trade Federation, and today we're showing off kind of an undervalued and underused structure in the game, and that is the canoe. So the canoe you can get at a very low level, so just level 8 gets you the ability to craft the canoe, and it doesn't take a ton of resources to do. But what it can do after you craft it is actually really cool. So we're going to go ahead and we've already got one crafted. We're going to place it in the water. So you can do up to 3 people in here, and the more people you have, the faster it goes. But the really cool thing with the canoe is if you go up to it and just open its inventory, you can see here that it's got some slots where you can put some stuff. So what we've got is some meat on our shadow main here. So you can see in the shadow main, you get 20, your swirl times at 27 minutes. I put it in my inventory. There's 6 minutes and 55 seconds left. And if I throw it in a preserving bin, you can see we've got just over an hour and 8 minutes. So what happens if we put that meat in the canoe? So we'll go open its inventory and throw the meat in there. And you can see we've got an hour and 7 minutes. So it works just like a preserving bin without having to use any other resources. So perfect for a low-level player if you're gathering meat, just starting to raise your first dinos. If you need to go out on a meat run, you can actually use the canoe. So that's great. But what else can it do? So, especially as an early game player, especially if you're level 8 and you're trying to gather resources, transporting them back to your base can be tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump on the Pteranodon here, and we're on Fjordor, and we're just over by this kind of metal cave here. And I'm just going to use a primitive pick, and I'm going to gather a little bit of metal. And early on in the game, getting an Argentavis can be a problem. It takes, a high level to make the saddle. And getting and transporting resources can be tough. So we're just going to gather a little bit of metal here. And it's not going to be a ton whenever we use a primitive pick. But you can see we've got a little bit of resources coming. So as an early game player, your weight can be a problem. You can see on the Pteranodon here, we don't have a ton of weight in here. So as you're transporting resources back and forth, trying to get them back to your base, the canoe can actually do some really cool things. So we're going to bring the Pteranodon back in here. And we've got just a little bit of resources in here. We're going to dump them into the canoe as well. So you can put the meat in there. You can also put the resources in there. And we've got a little box here. We've got some metal. You can see here, there's a fair amount of metal here. And if you encumber yourself, you can't really walk. So we're going to transfer each one of these items just like you would as a kind of a new player to the canoe. Because when you're only level 8 or you're just trying to get metal, you're in the lower levels, weight and carrying resources can be a problem. So we're just going to keep loading the canoe full here. And it does have a fair amount of slots to use. And those that have played Ark from an early stage understand this is pretty tough. So you can see we've got, well over 1,000 pounds in this thing, plus the meat that isn't spoiling. If you look at the weight, it's not increasing. So you could load this thing up with metal, hop in, and just take off. And you don't have to worry about, it will slot cap, you don't have to worry about the weight on the canoe. So you can actually take this with you, put it in your inventory, gather your resources, throw the canoe down, and then get yourself back to your base with the canoe. So we're going to spin it around, and we're going to show you how to land this thing. So if you gathered all that metal or all your resources, crystal, obsidian, whatever it is you're after that can be heavy and take as an early game player, and we're just going to beach this onto the coast here. So as you go up to it, it'll ask you to hit left control to beach the canoe. We're going to do that. We're going to get it up. We're going to hold it. Canoe beached. We're going to hop off. And you can actually pick up the canoe like that. And you can see all that stuff's in your inventory. So that can be a problem if you pick it up right away, but you can take things directly back out the whole time. So we're going to move forward here just a little bit, throw the canoe back in the water, and we'll throw the resources back in and just take them out one by one. And then you can take them straight to your base. So the canoe is really cool when it comes to being able to handle transportation of resources at a very early stage in the game. Now, one danger with the canoe is normally when you have the raft, and that's what most Ark players will use, is a raft to get back and forth. The raft is designed so it doesn't aggro dinos to you that are on land if you get close, but the canoe is not that way. So it won't aggro any dinos that are in the water here, you can see, but nothing's coming after us. But if we were to go on land with the canoe, or at least near land, where dinos can aggro to you, they can hit you and they can damage you while you're on the canoe. So just be aware that using that can be a problem. But you can see we just got that whole group right here. And the last thing that you can do on the canoe that's really cool is you can actually shoot off of it while seated. So you can get up on the canoe and walk around and use your weapon, or you can jump back on and then open up your weapon and you can shoot right off of it. So if you could get in trouble on the go and you want to keep moving, you can see I'm still moving even though I've got the weapon out. So the canoe's still going and I've got the weapon out, so you can kind of do both at once. And then we'll just beach the canoe. And jump off. And that canoe can stay with you whenever you need it and pick it up and take it with you wherever you go. So just a pretty cool little early game item that can help you out when you're trying to gather your first set of resources. So just wanted to say thanks for watching. If you found the video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you all on the next video.